As I walked through the shadowed corridor of the newly revealed library, I found that we had broken through an outer wall of the archival chambers. From floor to ceiling, shelves lined each side of the pathway, all stacked with ancient scrolls. At the far end of the chamber lay larger scrolls, one in particular ornately decorated with images of angelic figures, and across it flowed a script in ancient Hebrew. I gently dusted it off, revealing an image of winged men descending from the heavens, and below them stood a group of women gazing skyward. As I slowly unraveled the scroll, it revealed new images, large monstrous men. They stood tall amongst what looked like groups of terrified people. The men destroyed everything in their wake. None could escape. At the very edge of the image, there was a giant, stronger and larger than the others. He was locked in combat with a beast of the sea. My eyes grew wide as I deciphered the single line of text that came next. Nephilim. Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's video, where we will be discussing a topic of giant proportions, the Nephilim. They are the twisted demonic spawn of the Old Testament. But how did they come about? And where did they go? And how did they return? We'll be diving into these questions as well as much more in this episode. So sit back, grab a beverage and a snack, and prepare to get biblical. The Nephilim are one of the more fascinating elements of the Old Testament. Many individuals have discussed the topic and what exactly they are. However, very little is mentioned of them in the canonical Bible, with the term Nephilim only being present 3 times within the Old Testament, one being mentioned in Genesis and 2 more mentions in the Book of Numbers. So what are Nephilim, these mysterious figures? According to Genesis chapter 6, they are the half-breed offspring of the sons of God, which were a group of angels who lusted after the human women and chose to intermingle with them. These offspring were half-human, half-angelic demonic entities that would go on to become men of renown, both in this pre-flood era as well as later on. Genesis 6:4 states, "There are giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown." The word giant here in the original Hebrew is Nephilim, which according to the Strong's Concordance comes from the Hebrew nephal, which translates as to fall or lie. This could, in turn, be representative of the being's parental lineage in regard to the sons of God mentioned in Genesis 6:2 as well as 6:4 being fallen angels. Taking a deeper look into these entities, we find mention of them in the non-canonical Book of Enoch, which recounts many of the events of the pre-flood world known as the antediluvian period. In both the Bible and the Book of Enoch, these beings are known for their giant stature and aggressive behavior. This concept is further explored in the Book of Giants, which is an extra-biblical text that is often compared and contrasted with the Book of Enoch. Both Enoch and the Book of Giants explore the origins of these mysterious figures in more detail, going so far as to provide the names of their fathers, the angels which descended from heaven and mated with the human women. This dissension is covered in great detail and speaks of a gathering of the aforementioned sons of God, also known as the Watchers, on a mountain called Mount Hermon, which is believed to be the same mountain as Mount Sinai mentioned in the book of Exodus. On this mountain, they made a pact that they would all take wives for themselves, and that if they were to be punished, they would take the punishment together. The scale and magnitude of these giants varied greatly as well. It is of importance to note a particularly interesting observation regarding the giant stature after the flood versus those of the antediluvian period. According to 1 Samuel 17:4, Goliath was over 9 feet tall. The scripture reads, "And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span." Meanwhile, if we take a look at the giants mentioned within chapter 6 of the Book of Giants, it can be seen that the Nephilim are so large and strong that some of them survive the initial waters of the great flood. It is after this that God, referred to as Yahweh in this text, sends the sea beast Leviathan to fight and kill the remaining Nephilim. One of the giants survives, one by the name of Ohiah, who engages in combat with the Leviathan and kills him. It's at this point in the story that God sends the archangel Raphael to kill and bind Ohiah in what is referred to as the dark prison of punishment. With the destruction of the Nephilim during the flood, many raise the question, how did they return during the time of Moses and David? This is a very interesting question and one that many theologians have pondered for quite some time. Some have theorized that a second group of angels descended from heaven and once again mated with human women. Another theory is that this return of the giants was due to the bloodline of Noah's family, possibly having Nephilim DNA. Particularly, it is often pointed out that this may be the result of Noah's daughter-in-law's family lineage. I, however, propose a different theory. According to biblical scholar Michael S. Heiser in his book The Unseen Realm, he believes that when the Nephilim died, that their disembodied spirits continued to roam the earth as demons. It is my opinion that these demonic spirits intermingled with women like their fathers did. However, being only half-breeds, it made them of lesser power than that of their ancestors. When these spirits intermingled with humans once again, their offspring were the lesser giants noted after the flood in the Old Testament. I want to thank you all for watching this episode. Please remember to subscribe. Your support means the world to me. And remember, if God is for us, no one can be against us.